Tonight's special report on the new hunt for MH370 that's about to get underway. The Ocean Infinity expedition is about to arrive at its destination, a previously unsearched part of the Indian Ocean. The area lies 35 degrees south of the equator. That's further north and closer to Australia than the previous search area. After years of painstaking research to pinpoint this new location, confidence is high. But this time around, the wreckage of the plane will finally be found. The ABC's Anne Barker examines the evidence which has led the searchers to this point.
For 3 years, Blaine Gibson has lived and breathed aviation in his quest to find out what happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370.
This is from a 747. It's thinner than what they have on the 777.
The self-styled sleuth from Seattle has been scouring remote island beaches in the Indian Ocean looking for wreckage, and now his efforts have paid off.
What I wanted to accomplish with the debris has been accomplished. It is new credible evidence that has triggered the renewal of the search.
Most of what he's found are personal belongings, bags and shoes that may have come from the missing plane. But he and others have also found at least 20 pieces of wreckage. The first piece was the right flaperon, discovered in 2015 on Reunion Island. Other confirmed wreckage includes the right aft flap and the right outboard flap. 7 more pieces are classified as almost certainly from MH370. Another 10 are likely or highly likely to be off the plane. And an additional 7 pieces seem to be from the aircraft but are unidentified. That's 27 pieces in all.
The most emotional is that monitor case from the back of the seat in front of you. That is the one that brought tears to my eyes and broke my heart.
But it's that right flaperon, the very first piece found, that provides the biggest clue.
This one is not beamed to the wind at the moment.
Scientists in Hobart used a replica to study its movement in water and examined ocean currents to see if they could track where all the debris had come from. Satellite signals already indicated the plane crashed somewhere along an imaginary arc in the Indian Ocean. Assumptions about the autopilot setting pointed to an area below 36 degrees south. But a study of ocean drift showed that was unlikely because debris, shown here in blue, would have come to Australia. A crash further north, shown in orange and red, would have seen debris drift towards Africa. The penny drop moment came in late 2016.
I realised that the absence of debris on Australia was actually a more sort of fine-grained piece of information than trying to match up the arrival times of all the items at Reunion and in Africa.
And there were more clues. 35 South fit with a different autopilot setting, but one that Malaysian crew often use, and it was an area never searched by air at the time of the crash. French satellite images in the days after were initially discounted, but only last year the French sent higher resolution versions that shed new light.
There are lots of large white things, and that's not something you normally see on the surface of the ocean. They all look potentially like contents of the aircraft.
This time a private company, Ocean Infinity, is taking on the new search. Using underwater drones to scan the sea floor, they'll begin searching the most likely area of 5,000 square kilometres as soon as tomorrow. But it won't be easy.
You're navigating an environment that is very deep, very dark, very complex and steep in places.
Stuart Minchin led the team that has mapped much of the new search area.
Ranges from about 3,400 metres deep at the very peak of some of the underwater volcanoes that are in the area, down to as deep as 4,800 metres.
Boosting their confidence is the success of a similar search for an Air France plane that plunged into the Atlantic 9 years ago. It took 2 years to find that wreckage, but the flight recorders were still in good enough condition to show what had gone wrong. Even without them, investigators say forensic examination of the wreckage can still give vital clues, like was there a fire on board and who was or wasn't in the cockpit at the time of the crash. The Air France crash led to calls for continuous tracking devices to be placed on all passenger planes, something that still hasn't happened. Since MH370 disappeared, those calls have gotten only louder.
There has to be another way that we can track these planes. Yes, we've got the pings between satellites, etc., that they've been able to track, which is fabulous, but that's not enough.
Blaine Gibson says thoughts of the families who lost loved ones are never far from his mind.
They've become like my friends and like my family. They want the truth, whatever it is.
Finally, the truth could be discovered soon. Anne Barker, ABC News.